I'm Dr. Linda Gromko, and this is Transgender Medicine Made Simple. Today we're going to address a question of the week, and that question is, what's the deal about syringes and needles? It's pretty confusing. So let's go through both of these for folks who are injecting their hormones. Here's a brief tutorial. So first of all, let's start with the review. Hormones are frequently injected, and there are two ways to do this. We have IM, which stands for intramuscular, and SubQ, which stands for subcutaneous. IM injections are given into the muscle, often in the thigh, the gluteus muscle of the butt, or the deltoid muscle up in the shoulder area. Subcutaneous injections are given in the soft tissue just under the skin, often in the belly like people do with insulin injections. But if there are questions about any of this, ask your healthcare provider. This is way too important to be freelancing on this. Injections are given usually every 1 to 2 weeks, but this is variable. Subcutaneous injections are generally given weekly. This is very important. You must use a new syringe and new needles for each time you inject, and you must have a system for disposing of your needles and syringes safely. Here's what you need in syringes. Syringes come in many sizes, but 1 and 3 milliliter syringes are what we generally use for hormones. We use the metric system and the English system in medicine, so if you're not familiar with this, 1 milliliter is the same as 1 cubic centimeter or 1 cc. And for reference, 30 cc's would be an ounce, 1,000 cc's would be a liter, which is just about a quart, and so on. Here's more information on syringes. Syringes have two kinds of tips. There's the slip tip. This is the one where you just push the needle onto the syringe. You don't screw it on, and this is not the one you want for injecting hormones. The Luer lock is the one that you do want because it allows the needle to be screwed onto the syringe, and that's much more secure. It takes a little bit of force to inject hormones because the solution is thick, and you don't want the needle to come off of the syringe in the middle of an injection. Now, I've seen this happen with people, and it isn't the end of the world, but it is disconcerting, and it's not what you want to see happen. So what about needles? Needles come in a variety of sizes and lengths depending on what you need. The size of the needle, or more specifically its diameter, is referred to as the gauge. And I only learned this about 10 years ago, that the 18 gauge needle is 1/18th of an inch, and a 25 gauge needle is 1/25th of an inch. So you see that the larger the gauge, the smaller is the needle diameter. What about length? Length depends on where the injection will be given. So for an IM injection, you will use a longer needle to place into the thigh or the gluteus. This is usually a 1-inch needle or 1.5-inch needle. For a SubQ injection, you're going to need a shorter needle, and these are usually 5/8 of an inch in length. Here's an example of a Luer lock syringe with an 18 gauge needle screwed onto it. Now this is called a transfer needle. We use this to draw the medication up from the bottle. An 18 gauge makes the medication draw up quickly because it's a pretty large needle, and you don't want to inject this into your body for obvious reasons, like it's a pipe. What you do is you switch it to a different needle, that is to say either the 25 gauge needle or the 22 gauge needle that you're going to put into your body. You use your needles once and dispose of them after use, including the transfer needle. After the hormone is drawn up using the transfer needle, like I said, we switch to the injection needle. So all told, here's what you need to have before you inject. Of course, you need to have your hormone solution, but for an IM injection, you need a Luer lock syringe, a 22 gauge needle, that is 1 inch or 1.5 inch in length. You will need that 18 gauge transfer needle, and of course alcohol wipes and a band-aid. For a SubQ injection, of course you'll need your hormone vial. You'll need a Luer lock syringe. That 25 gauge needle should be a 5/8 of an inch in length. You will need an 18 gauge transfer needle, and you'll also need alcohol wipes and a band-aid. And finally, you're going to need something to dispose of your needles and syringes after you inject. At the left, we show the products that are available at any pharmacy. They're available in a variety of sizes, and you've seen these probably in theaters now and in restaurants, etc. My favorite disposal units, however, come from Stealth Bros. Now, Stealth Bros is founded by Braxton Fleming. It's a wonderful company, and Braxton markets these excellent little carrying cases for the use with hormones as well as the disposal kits. Now, let me show you, I'll give you an example of what these look like. I just happen to have one here in red. This is the Stealth Bros Co. I think this is called the Junior Dop Kit, but you can see that it's got little places where you can place your supplies. It even opens up like so that you can put in your syringes. Oh dear. So you can put in your syringes and needles like so. So there's plenty of room to store things. And they come in all sorts of colors and all sorts of sizes. So go to his website at stealthbrosco.com for information on this excellent product. Not just for people who are using hormones, but also for people who are using hormones for fertility purposes, for example, or are using insulin for diabetes and any medication that needs to be injected. This is a great, helpful product. So that's all the information I have today. If you found this information to be useful, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also share this video with somebody else who might need this information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.